It's time to talk my May TBR. Hi, friends. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new. Glad you're here. I'm Olivia. This is AV Club where I talk horror, lithic, weird books, whatever I want to talk about. And today I want to talk a little bit about my library haul, my upcoming arcs that I want to read, some library holds that have come in through Libby. So a little bit of everything on my May TBR. There's no theme to this monthly TBR. It really is just those things, like what's coming from the library and arcs that I need to read now. We can talk my arcs first. These are all from Netgalley. It is May 1st here, and I think all of these books are officially out, which was not my plan. I obviously did not expect to lose Roland and those couple of weeks where I was like not on track with like what I needed to be reading just put me behind a little bit, but that's okay because we are catching up now. I think I'm fully caught up except for one arc that I still have read. But the one that I finished today that came out in April is Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. This was one of my most anticipated horror novels for this year, and I thought it was great. I'm not going to talk too much about my thoughts about it now just because this is supposed to be my TBR, but I did finish it on May 1st, so I guess it's kind of like it was part of my TBR whenever I wrote this list. But this is a split timeline historical fiction contemporary horror story set in Japan that has ghost and family drama and grief and abuse. There are some very dark topics, as you would expect in a gothic story, that it is looking at the samurai era and really the historical setting that it takes place in. The samurai era in Japan has already passed, but there are people still trying to cling on to it. And yeah, it splits that with a contemporary fiction. It is very inventive, very horrifying, very dark. So if you don't like real gritty topics, this one might not be your cup of tea, but I really enjoyed it. It was so different than Bad Eater because it was historical fiction and because it was like so I Bad Eater was gritty too, but this one just like took it to another level. Really good. And I'm also going to be finishing 40% through with Molka by Monica Kim. This was probably my very most anticipated horror of this year because I loved The Eyes Are the Best Part a couple years ago. That was my best horror fiction of whatever year I read that, 2024 now. And this is about hidden cameras and misogyny in South Korea and this current social issues where there are like cameras hidden in places in workplaces and bathrooms and hotel rooms that are trying to get compromising images of women, videos of women, and putting them online without their consent for sexual reasons, power reasons, all the above. And yeah, it is looking through multiple relationships of how this problem is impacting women. So far, where I'm at in the story, the main character has kind of been exposed to these horrors, but I believe this is also kind of going to turn into like a revenge, good for her kind of story. So I look forward to seeing that for her. And then an arc that is not coming out until June, but I might get to this month, is the Summer Fun Massacre by Craig DeLuey. I have not read anything by him before. I started episode 13 but never finished it. Episode 13? I think that's what it's called. And this one is a summer camp slasher, which sounds like a great time. And I would love to have a great summer camp slasher to recommend to y'all if it is good. And yeah, I am looking forward to it. So I might read it sooner rather than later. I have some really exciting arcs that have been approved for, but they're not until later. But I just want to get to them. And one of them is Night Jars by Michael Wayhunt. Like, I'm so excited to get to this, but it doesn't come out until like September. So I think we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer before we can read and review it. Let's get into my library bag. I got some books at the library recently and I want to talk about them. The center I've had out from the library for a while, so I need to either read it this month or return it. It is just, I don't know why it It sounds so interesting, but it's never seeming like the right next book to pick up. But it's supposed to be dark and twisty and surreal about language and translation and appropriation, set in New Delhi, set in London. It's speculative somehow. It sounds so interesting. I don't understand why it never seems like the right next book to pick up because it sounds so good. So I need to either get to it this month or just take it out from the library again whenever it does sound like the perfect time. Uncall is one of the Stella Prize long list books. I have started this one as well. And this is a story that is from Dr. Deborah Dank. It is part memoir, part kind of inspirational nonfiction. Inspirational is like not the right word, or it's not prompting the right ideas, I think, whenever you hear inspirational, but it is about community, and it is about specifically this like instance in her life whenever she found out that the stolen generation in Australia was where they were taking Aboriginal children from their families and from their communities and placing them with white families as a way to um, culturally eliminate uh, those communities, and this kind of paternalistic instinct to say like we know it is better for you than your own communities, and finding out that maybe that hit closer to home for her than she knew, that she knew was happening to many other families, but it actually happened within her own family as well. Haven't gone to the part yet of her explaining how that related to her, but yeah, it has like a beautiful, very um optimistic, not the right word, but just like this very warm spirit to the writing style. And I've read 3 out of 6 of the Stella Prize shortlist so far, and I think I am Nanurtgruk is, I think, going to be available at the library for me to pick up this month. So if so, then I will read this one to this month, and there will be 2 books that I possibly will not get to because they still say they're on order at the library. So yeah, we'll see. If either Canon or 58 Facets wins, then I will for sure get to it at some point. But at some point, I just have to admit that I won't get to the full short list before the winner's announced. To the Moon by John Gruyuchin, translated by Sean Lynn Halbert. This has been yelling at me in the bookstore for so long. For 6 months, I've been thinking about buying this book, and I never buy new books. There's just something about it that looked like something I would love. Apparently, a best selling book in Korea. This one is set in Seoul, where 3 young women become friends while working mundane desk jobs at a confectionery manufacturer. And then at some point, one of them decides to invest her life savings into cryptocurrency and gets the other two to join her in the trip. And so, yeah, I'm obviously very crypto skeptical, crypto negative, and I'm very interested to see how a topic like this is integrated into a story of friendships and young adulthood, real young adulthood, not YA. Young professionals, I guess, is the term that you would use. And I just think that this is like one of the most stunning covers. I love like a neon gradient. And then we have an Australian horror, Honey Eater by Kathleen Jennings. I believe I've read something from Kathleen Jennings before. Yes, I've read Fly Away before. This one is described as a richly imagined dark fantasy that pulses with the beautiful destruction of a town reclaimed by the natural world. And I know that this is like a popular book, I think, including in the US. And so I don't know that a lot of people know that it's an Australian author. I don't even know if it is set in Australia. And I think it is like more like dark fantasy gothic rather than like it was labeled in the Australian section rather than horror. But yeah, I'm really keen to read something that is Australian. I'm trying to read and promote Australian horror as much as possible, and there is surely a lot of Australian horror authors, but I don't see them getting push by big publishers here that there's no like specific horror imprints at the big publishers. So maybe that's part of it, but definitely want to read and review these when possible. Even though if this was an American author, I wouldn't necessarily be as interested. I do love like an atmospheric gothic novel, but it is something that I usually like need to be in the mood for. So hopefully I'm in the mood for it soon. And that is all of my physical library books. So my Libby holds that are coming in. One that just came in, so excited for it, The Fox and the Devil by Kirsten White. This is somehow about a serial killer and also a sapphic relationship, like a sapphic horror. The cover's giving kind of fantasy. I think more moody, atmospheric. Don't fully know what this is about, but it sounds wonderful from what I know. One that I'm currently reading, The Compound by Eiling Rawl. This is like Love Island um meets not Survivor. It is mostly like Love Island Big Brother. It is like these couples that are in this desert compound and they know that everything is being displayed on reality television in some way. They're having to do challenges. They are limited on food and resources, and it's kind of Lord of the Flies right now, too. Really interested in this. I love a reality television speculative story. So excited to see where this one goes. And then the only other thing that I feel like I will probably get to this month for sure is like a Libby Hold that will be coming in for the novelization of Exit 8 by Genki Kawamura. And Genki Kawamura is the writer, director, producer of the Exit 8 movie, which is an adaptation of the video game. And this is, if you're not familiar, a video game that's all about liminal spaces in Japanese subways. So you're like walking through these Japanese subways and looking for anomalies. And it just like it's like a liminal space where it just keeps repeating and repeating. And so like I already love like horror architecture kind of stuff. The movie, I'm not sure that the movie is getting released here, or at least here in my city. Like I'm not sure how wide of a release it is anyway. Like if it's going to be, I'm sure it'll be like in Sydney and Melbourne, but I'm not sure it's coming to my local theater. I want to watch the movie, but I'm also interested in the novelization because it is written by the guy who is making the film, and he is an author, and I've read a book from him before. If all the cats disappeared from the world, something like that. I'm just interested to see how this like liminal space video game, which makes sense, like how they make it repeat, how that works as a movie. And I think that they did a lot of like physical sets to make it feel really uncanny. But then again, how do you really capture that in a novelization, and the fact that it is like an actual novelist that is doing it? I wouldn't normally read a novelization, but I'm really interested here. And I don't think it'll spoil too much anything if I happen to read the book before I get to see the movie. I just feel like they're going to be all part of one interconnected thing, kind of like House of Leaves. So, as always, I'm sure I won't get to all of this stuff, and I'm sure that I will get to other things that I don't even know about yet. That's just the way things go. But just wanted to talk a little bit about what's coming up in May for me as well. Hey, I should have said this at the top of the video. We just had our quarter 1 GG No Reread, the book club, video game club that I run, and we do the live show on my YouTube channel. We just did that actually today for the 7 Moons of Molly Almeida and Murdered Soul Suspect. So much fun. Love chatting with everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Hope to see more people next time, which is the quarter 2 one. So it should be at the end of June, barring any horrible life events. But quarter 2 will be The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin, talking about it with Psychonauts. And so both of these deal with adventuring into the mind, either through dreams or being a psychonaut, being able to travel inside brains and changing things. So I think that these will be 2 really exciting texts to talk about together. And I hope you read along, play along, either or with us, or just show up to the book club. Like, how many book clubs are run in real life where everyone shows up and they don't even haven't necessarily read the book and they're just there to like have a wine or whatever. It's that kind of vibe. Just come hang out. But that's it for me today. I will be back to talk about everything that I read in April. I think the 14 books I read in April, it was a big reading month. I will be back to talk about those next week. So until then, I'll talk to you later. Bye.